Okay, Freilich and Chanukah, everyone. So wonderful to get together with everybody. We welcome in A.B. Spry, Aaron Swade, Yitzi Fuchs, Baruch Ian, Shelley Zeitlin, Irving Fishbaum, Mark Frankel, Yitzi Padua, Shalom Fogel, Eddie Chazan, Mel Zachter, Marshall Castle, Dr. Guy, Stephen Holtzman, Rabbi Kran, Shimon Deer, Shimon Klein, Michal, Reuven Palak, Nachman Chapler, Naftali, Ilya Shutman, Moshe Lehman, Yitzi Muller, and we have, I see Chanukah menorahs in the background. I see by Yitzi Fuchs a lit menorah over there, and I think Shelley, your menorah is out already. Is it on still?
Yeah, it's still on. It's just in the distance.
It's still on. We have over here, we have a freshly lit Chanukah menorah. We lit it again for Mariv. Tonight is a very special night. Actually, after the share tonight, immediately after the share, we're going to do the segment for the Shabbos table, and this is going to be a very special segment called for the Zois Chanukah table. We'll talk all about Zois Chanukah. Suffices to say that many of the Mefarshim, the Hasidic Mefarshim, say that Zois Chanukah is the final stop which started on Rosh Chodesh Elul, the last final Gemar Din, and therefore it's a very, very auspicious time to learn, to have in mind that our learning should be Kisris b'fnei aparaniyos, like a shield before retribution. Torah is magnei umatzlei, it saves and it protects, and we learn to be mekayim the mitzvah v'dibarta bam, La'asais nachas ruach liyitzreinu, to give nachas to the Rebbeinu Shalom on this extremely important day. We are sponsored by A.B. Spry and family, and he does so for the safety of the troops. And as always, the battle is raging ferocious now as we're closing in on the enemy on many fronts. Lebanon also, where Hezbollah is still shooting rockets at us, and we're putting down the launchers, but everything is dangerous, and every day we see another Heilige Neshama being killed. So it's a very serious time for Klal Yisrael. In this, it has real similarity to Chanukah, where there was a great Yeshua, but there were a lot of Jewish casualties on Chanukah, a lot of Jewish casualties. We learn, sponsored, as I said, by A.B. Spry for the safety of the soldiers, and Isser Zev ben Yuta by Shimon Klein, Lil Nishmas Asher Anshe ben Yehuda, Gittel by Shimon Pinchas by Irving Fishbaum, Lil Nishmas Isser ben Rezel, for my Shver Vigdoraya ben Rivka, for Reb Ruvain, Shalom Ruvain, Bas ben Shima, Meir ben Chayesar. They should all have a refuah shalema b'seich sharcha Yisrael. We are holding by Tanya Idach, which is on Membeis Amud Aleph. Membeis, as you know, is a very important letter grouping because that is v'dibarta bam, and bam, it's been said, is Torah Shebiksav and Torah Shebal Peh. The Beis is Bereshis and the Mem is Me'emasai, which the Mishnah starts with. So that's v'dibarta bam, the mitzvah to learn Torah Shebiksav and Torah Shebal Peh. So Tanya Idach, we learned in another brayso, Balashar Noki. So it says the owner of the shor, it goes clean. Rabbi Yaisi Aimer Noki Midvei Vladais. This is a new drasha. If he gores a woman and it causes her to miscarry, so he doesn't pay for the value of the fetus. Amalei Rabbi Kiva. So Rabbi Kiva says, "Hari Yuhaimer ki yonatzu anoshim yachtav." The pasuk tells us that when two men are fighting, and v'nokfu isha hara, and he hits a pregnant woman, v'yatza yuladeha. And the pasuk says, "V'lo yiyasam," if the woman doesn't die, because if the woman died, then there would become like Ramine and he would be potter. But v'lo yiyasam, onesh ya'onesh, then we penalize him for paying the Timei Vlados. And Rabbi Kiva says, the pasuk says, only kiyanotzu anashim, only when men are fighting, anashim v'lo shvarim. So therefore we don't need Balashar Naki to tell us that you're potter from Timei Vlados. So the Gemara says, Shaper Kama Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Kiva seems to have a very good argument. Why does Rabbi Yosef Glili need to learn it out from Balashar Naki? So Amarav Ula Braid Rav Idi Itzrach. Because Solkadaita Chamina, I might have thought Anoshim v'lo Shvarim Hadoimim la Anoshim. When do we say that a shor that gores a woman and causes her to miscarry is potter? That's only oxen that are similar to humans. It only excludes an ox which is similar to humans. What's an ox that's similar to a human? Ma'anoshim muadim, just like a man is muad la'aylam, af shvar muadim. And therefore it's a muad that's a shar that's going to be potter. Ha tam, but I might think that a tam that gores and causes a miscarriage, mechayim. So, because Rachmana Balashar Naki departed. So, of course, Rava right away retorts, well, if a muad is potter, then of course a tam is potter. Amar Rava Yatziva Ba'ara, the citizen is on the ground, Vigiyura, and the stranger Bishmei Shmaya is in the heavens. It doesn't make sense. If a muad is potter, how could you have a meaning that a tam should be chayiv? Ela Amar Rava Itzrich Sol Kadai Techamina. Anoshim v'lo yishvarim adoimim la'anoshim. When the drush is as follows: Ma anoshim muadim, af shvarim muadim. Just like a man is a muad, so also an ox is a muad. Is when it's potter. And then, of course, v'kal v'chayim l'tam in the p'tiri. And then, of course, a tam that causes a miscarriage is potter. And then it says, Balashar Naki, that tam potter, only a tam is potter, but a muad chayiv. Whoa! So now what the Gemara wants to say is that what Rabbi Yosef Glili is coming to say is, if it would just say ki yanotzu anoshim yachtav, we would say anoshim v'loy muad, anoshim and not shvarim. What kind of a shar? A muad, and surely a tam. But then when the pasuk then says Balashar Naki by a tam, it's coming to tell us that only a tam is potter mit mei vlados, but a muad is takachayiv in the mei vlados. Amalei Abaya, so Abaya says, utilizing that argument, we would then be able to extrapolate that a shara muad should be chayiv in boishas, which, by the way, it's not chayiv for humiliation. But Abaya says, utilizing your line of logic, Amalei Abaya lemiyata gabi boishas nami neimahachi anoshim, because it says by the woman ve'erziku b'mavushav, she grabs hold of his embarrassing places, and we learn it out that it says over there in the pasuk only anoshim, but not shvarim. And then we should, according to your line of logic, we should argue as follows: anoshim v'lo shvarim adayim la'anoshim. That men are chayiv in humiliation, but not oxen that are similar to men, meaning muadim. Ma'anoshim muadim af shvar muadim. V'kal v'chayim l'tamim the p'tirei. And for sure a tam is potter from baishas. And then we should say, according to Yehuda Kasser Rachmana Balashar Naki, that tam potter, only a tam is potter from baishas, but a muad chayiv. And then maybe you'll say, maybe you'll counter v'chitei ma'ochinami. Taka maybe a shar muad is chayiv for humiliation. But that can't be, because Yachi lisnei balashar naki, Rabbi Yossi Aglini, I'm a potter midrei v'ladis umi baishas. That a tam is potter midrei v'ladis and baishas, and not a muad. And since nobody says that, rather that can't be the whole line of logic. Ella abayu v'ravadim travayu. Listen to the next thing. Remember, there's no kamlei b'rabamine by an animal. By a human, there's a din that if a human is chayiv in misa and forfeits his life, then he's potter from paying. And now, the line of reasoning that the Gemara uses is as follows. Ela abayu v'ravadim travayu, anoshim, by a man, ein osin be'isha, if the woman doesn't die, ye'anshu, then he has to pay. Yesh osin be'isha, if the woman does die, then lo ye'anshu. V'lo shvarim, but not by oxen, da'afal gav yesh anshu, osin ye'anshu. I might think that even if the woman dies, you have to pay for the Demei Vladis, because there's no din of Kabnei Ramine by a ox. That a shar is potter from Demei Vladis. So the Gemara says, Maskav lo Ravacha barava. So the Gemara says, as we're right in the middle of a sugya, does it depend on the death of the woman? It doesn't depend on the death of the woman, because if he intended to kill the man and he killed the woman, there wouldn't be a chiyuv misa. B'kavana talya milsa. It depends on what kavana he had. Did he intend to? As Rashi says, asan talya milsa b'kavana talya milsa. Va'afilu yesh asan b'isha. Even if the woman dies, says Rashi, ye'anshu, he would have to pay. If he had in mind to kill the man and not the woman. The Tzvi later Avad Reb Shimon, Dama Masech the Sanhedrin Be'elahin Nisrafim, Nischaven Laris Zeh V'Horeg Zeh, that if you intended to kill one person, you killed someone else, Potem Amisa V'Chayiv Mamama. And therefore, says the Gemara, it's not dependent on whether the woman died or not. It's dependent on what kavanah he had. So the Gemara says, okay, we'll rearrange what we just said. Alama Ravada Barava Anoshim Kinis Kavnu Zelazeh. If he intended to kill the man that he was fighting with and not the woman, Afal Gav Sheyesh Osan Be'isha, even if the woman dies, anshu, there would be payment. Kinis Kavnu Le'isha Atzma, where he intended for the woman, however, then lo anshu, there would be no penalty for payment. V'lo shvarim, but that's not true by an axe. Da'afilu niskavnu leisha atzma, even if he intended to kill the woman herself, anshu. He intended to kill the woman herself. Even so, he would be chayiv to pay for the demei v'lados, because there's no kamlei b'ramine by a shar. Because Rachmana balashar naki de petire, potter from the demei v'lados. The chenki aser Rab Chagi midrayma aser v'aisi masisa b'yodek kavasa de Rab Ada Barava, like Rab Ada Barava. What did you want to ask me?
I just wanted to know if it said balashar naki at this part of the Chumash as well as the other one.
No, it says balashar naki by demei v'lados.
That's what I was asking. That's all I wanted to know. I thought it was in the other place just.
No, it's only in the other place. But it's extra.
So it's extra. So over here, by the Beit Velotis, it says balashar naki. And what this?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't say balashar naki. It says balashar naki by shar. But if you remember, we already said, Lo ya'achal es b'sarai, balashar naki l'mayasa. What does it come to tell us?
So, it's like
So we're applying it.
So,
That's correct. Now,
I'm sorry.
listen, it's Zayis Chanukah. I have to be meichel you. Any other time, I don't know. I want to tell you something. He's not here. We can't talk about him. Marshall, where are you? I want to give you a compliment. Here he is. I just wanted to say that, Marshall, you never interrupt me in the middle of a sentence.
Never.
Never. I'm telling you.
Not a snowball's chance, you know where.
That you know why, Marshall? You don't have anything to say.
Forget to strangle that thing. Come on, give me a break.
Anyway, I shouldn't even joke like that on Zayis Chanukah. Marshall, I have to ask you for forgiveness because you just make yourself such a target. What could I do?
I got it painted on my bottom.
Yeah. But Mark taught me everything that I know about you.
Oh, I'm in trouble now.
2 lines from the bottom of Daf Mem Beis Amud Aleph. Wonderful to gather with everybody here on one of the most chashuv days of the year. One of the most definitely in the top 10 days of the year. Zayis Chanukah. Definitely, it's an amazing thing. And again, if you want to learn much more about Zayis Chanukah, join us right after the shir. We will have a segment for the Zayis Chanukah table, a special segment. We already did the Mishnah Yomis before because of that. 2 lines from the bottom. Tanya Idach. New drasha. Balashar Naki Rabbi Akiva Amar Naki Midmei Eved. It's coming to tell me that he doesn't pay the 30 shkalim for an Eved. Now the din is that if a human kills a Eved Kanani, so he pays a knas of 30 shkalim. And it's coming to tell us that a shar that kills an Eved Kanani doesn't pay the knas. One second. The din is, no. The din is that a shar amuid that kills an Eved Kanani pays a knas of 30 shkalim. That's a unique knas. He pays 30 shkalim whether the Eved pitched for the New York Yankees or if the Eved was worth nothing. Either way, he pays a knas of 30 shkalim. The pasuk of Balashar Naki comes to tell us that if a tam gores an Eved Kanani, he does not pay the knas of 30 shkalim. Okay, so now, Rabbi Akiva asked earlier to Rabbi Eliezer, if you remember, Rabbi Eliezer said that we learn out from Balashar Naki that a tam doesn't pay chatzi kaifer. Rabbi Akiva asked him, well, duh, how can it pay chatzi kaifer? It comes from the tam has to pay migufay, and we kill the shar because it gored. So of course he doesn't pay chatzi kaifer. So let him say the same thing on himself over here. V'neima Rabbi Akiva l'nafshei. Let him ask what he asked Rabbi Eliezer. V'aloi atzmai ein mishtalum ela megufay. A tam only pays from the body of the shar, and heviu lebezdin. They bring it to the court to stone it via shalim lach. So Amar Rav Shmuel bar Rav Yitzchak. So Rav Shmuel bar Rav Yitzchak answers, it's talking about, and of course you know whose shar this was. I see that nobody could figure it out. It was Marshall's shar, and Marshall. Blumenfeld figured it out. It was Marshall's shar, and it gored an Eved, so how could Rabbi Kiva say that Balashar Noki comes to tell you that it's potter from paying the knas? It has to be stoned. And if it has to be stoned, of course you can't collect the knas. So the Gemara says what's happened is before they got a chance to stone it, Marshall shechted it, and it's coming to tell you that you can't collect the 30 shkalim from the body of the shar. Says the Gemara, it's talking about where Marshall had to trot always for another Frankfurter. He says, I don't want the shar to be stoned. So he shechted the animal. Now the same that we should collect from it the 30 shkalim for the Eved. Kamash Malan, since this shar was supposed to be killed, even though Marshall slaughtered it, says the Gemara, if so, then why did Rabbi Akiva have a kash on Rabbi Eliezer? Why do you need Balashar Noki to tell me his pot from Chatzi Kaifer? It has to be stoned. Why didn't he say this pshat that it's talking about where the owner shechted it? So as the Gemara asks, says the Gemara Hachanami, that Rabbi Akiva knew that would be an answer, but v'saver dilma islay time achrina, maybe Rabbi Eliezer has a different reason, the Adif Mai, which we said Rabbi Eliezer did have other reasons. Either it was talking about a shah that wasn't killed because there was only an Eid Echad, or because Marshall admitted himself, or because it's a shah that had kavana for some guy. Says Gemara, v'neimalei, why doesn't v'neimalei, Dad of my v'neimalei, says Gemara, why didn't Rabbi Eliezer answer this answer to Rabbi Kiva? Rabbi Eliezer nami lishnei lei shekodem v'shachtu. Amalach. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Eliezer says, my answer is better. We're intended to kill an animal, because the shar is not sentenced to death. The shar la bar kaptor klal. The sol kedai t'chamina. Therefore, since the shar is not supposed to be put to death, I might think you should be chayiv and chatzi kaifer. Nechayiv. It's your kral l'me'utei. Aval hacha. But in this case, where the shar killed the Eved, so the shar is sentenced to death, and therefore, since it's sentenced to death, it doesn't have a chiyuv of 30 shkalim. So therefore, we can't say that if it doesn't get killed, it does. You don't need a pasuk. Afal gav the shachta, even if it's slaughtered. Says Gemara, Rabbi Kiva nami vadi hachavi. According to Rabbi Kiva, that argument is also very good. That since the animal is supposed to be slaughtered, that means that there's no original chiyuv. How could there be a chiyuv just because Marshall did what's wrong? Rav Asi said, "Hi, Milsim Mepid Gavra Rabba Shmili. I heard this from a great man. Omanu Rab Yosi Rab Chanina. Sol Kedai Techamina. I would have thought. Hoyel va'amar Rabbi Akiva af tam shechavel ba'adam. Since Rabbi Akiva holds that a tam that kills a human pays a nezik shalom. That's Rabbi Akiva shita. We said that where does tam pay a chatzi nezik? Only by injury. But if it kills a person, even a tam pays a nezik shalom. Since Rabbi Akiva says af tam shechavel ba'adam mishalom u'mois nezik shalom, so mishtalim nami demei evet, says the Gemara. Mishtalim nami demei evet me'aliyah, because the Rachmana, the Torah says balashar naki. Says the Gemara, but Amalei Rabbi Zeir Rabbi Asi, v'tavrei Rabbi Akiva legaziza. Rabbi Akiva breaks his strength. The Tanya Rabbi Akiva Aimer, when it says that a tam pays a tam that injures a person pays a nezek shalom, it doesn't pay a nezek shalom from aliyah, it pays migufay. The Tanya Rabbi Akiva miyachal yishalom min aliyah. Talmud leimer kemishpat hazeh yasalai and like the mishpat of a tam, meaning migufay mishalim, ve'ena mishalim and aliyah. Now that works with an injury, because by an injury we don't put the animal to death. But over here, we killed the Eved and we put the animal to death. If it's migufay, once again, it shouldn't pay. We don't need balashar noki. Elam Rava, why do we need balashar noki? Let's see it inside. Very interesting. Very intricate Gemara. Elama Rava says, Itzrich, Solkedaitich Amina, Hoyel Machmireini be'eved Yosim ben Chayrin. Isn't that interesting? We're machmir by an Eved Kanani more than a free man. Sheben Chayrin, a ben Chayrin, Yafa Sela, Noisin Sela. If he's worth a Sela, you pay a Sela. Shloishim, Noisin Shloishim. Right? In the din of a muad, if a muad gores a free man, you pay the value. If he's worth a seller, you pay a seller. If he's worth 30, you pay 30. But for Eved, Yofa seller, if he's worth a seller, still you pay 30. Nice in Shloishim. So therefore, I might think Mishtalim nami dvei Eved min aliyah. Even by a tam, we should pay the value of an Eved from aliyah. So Kas Rachmana balashar naki. And the Brisa teaches it similarly. Tan Kavasi the Rava. Balashar naki, it says that the balashar goes free. Rabbi Kiva Imer naki midmei Eved. Now, I don't understand. What would be the Havamina? It's a tam. And a tam pays only megufay, and this shor has to die. So the Gemara says, first of all, why would I think that he has to pay? V'alo dinu, hoyel v'chayiv be'eved v'chayiv be'ben chayrin, ma kishechayiv be'ben chayrin, chalakta by ben tam lemuad. There's a difference between a tam and a muad, right? Only by a muad do we pay kaifer. By a tam, we don't pay kaifer. And furthermore, an Eved is less than a free man. You have to give his full value. There's a difference between a tam and a muad. Eved, even if he's a pitcher for the New York Mets, you only pay 30. Ain't a din shenechluk by ben tam lemud that a tam should be potter. Says Marlai. To the contrary, we're machmer by an Eved more, because even if he's worth nothing, you still pay 30. Sheben chayrin yafa seller noisin seller shloishim noisin shlonim. He's worth a seller, you pay a seller 30, you pay 30. The Eved yafa seller Eved, even if he's worth only a seller noisin shloishim, you give 30. So yachel yei chayiv. I might think it should be chayiv. Tamalayva balashar naki. Naki midrei Eved. If it's a tam that goes a Eved Kanani, he doesn't pay anything. Now, the pasuk says it seems to be something completely superfluous. Tan Rabbanan behemis ish oy isha. If it kills a man or a woman. Now, what is it adding with a man or a woman? If it's to tell us that we say Sakel Yisakal Ashar, and to tell us that a muad pays kaifer, that if it grows a woman, you're chayiv kaifer just like a man. It grows a man or a woman. So what does it have to say again? Ish or isha. El hakish ishul ish. Ooh, this only has to do with the dinim of Yerusha. And it's coming to juxtapose a woman to a man. Ma ish nizakav liyoshav. just like a man, if a shor kills him, and it's a shor amuid, the kaifer payment goes to his children, and not to his wife. Af isha nizakel yorsha, so also by a woman, if she's killed, then the damages, the kaifer, go to her yorshim and not to her husband. So the Gemara says, what? I don't get that. Why shouldn't the husband yorish? V'sarve Rabbi Kiva lo yoris lo baal? Does Rabbi Kiva hold that the husband isn't yorish his wife? Or Tanya v'yorosh oisa? It says beferish in the pasuk, and he inherits her. Mekan shabal yorish es ishka, div Rabbi Kiva. So why shouldn't he be yorish her? Says the din is that much like the din of Bechar, the double portion of a firstborn, a husband is only yorish what's in the estate at the time of death, and not what will come to the estate later, what was owed to the estate, but was not in the estate at time of death. That's called that the husband is only yorish b'murzik v'loy b'roi. So Amar Reish Lakish loy Amar ela b'kaifer, because kaifer, the payment of kaifer, only comes after death. And therefore, it's only something that's potential to the estate, and the husband doesn't get that. He doesn't take that which is owed to that which is already in the estate. My time, says the Gemara, who says that kaifer is only evaluated and assessed after death? It kills a man or a woman. Hashar yisakal, the stone, shar is stone, and of course that's only after the death of the victim. V'gamba olav yumas im kaifer yushas alav. So we see that the kaifer is only after death, and since the kaifer is only after death, that which comes only after death, the husband does not get, because the husband is only yorish that which is mulzik in the estate at the time of death, not which is roy to come after death. Okay, Rabbi Isai, we are going to stop here now. I had announced that the shir on Motzei Shabbos is going to be at 8, but that's changed now, because we changed my schedule. I'm not going to my son for this Shabbos. One of the children are sick, so we're pushing it off. So therefore I'm here in Fairways for Shabbos, and therefore the shir could be at 7:45 Motzei Shabbos. More importantly, if you remember, because my son Yaakov is making a Siyam Hashas on Sunday, a one-time deal, shir, please, Shelley, make sure to put this down. Shir on Sunday night is 6:45. Shir Sunday night. Shir Sunday night. Tell your friends. Tell your relatives. Tell Marshall. Shir Sunday night is 6:45, and then back to 8 the rest of the week.
Chicago.
And now we are going to have the segment of For the Zeus Chanukah Table. You want to